Good morning. A couple of things in the log, nothing super big, but we'll start off with the crash that happened. That's probably one of the bigger things. This was Sunday, early Sunday morning around 1:30 on Minnesota near Sunnymead. And so what we had was one vehicle that was driving at a high rate of speed that was going north in the southbound lane and ended up striking another vehicle. The vehicle that was going the wrong way, there were 9 juveniles inside of it, and after the crash, they all took off. The driver of the other vehicle had some injuries, was taken to the hospital. It was described as non-life-threatening injuries. Eventually, the officers were able to find everybody that was in the other car, and the driver was arrested for or charged with reckless driving, driving on the wrong way, no driver's license, and felony hit and run. I think that's about it. The driver of the car, let me get that open first. But the car that was going the wrong way, my gosh, this thing is super slow today. Sorry. That car is a 2014 Ford Escape, and the driver is 14. She's from Sioux Falls. And the other vehicle, this is the driver that was taken to the hospital. That driver is 17, and her vehicle is a 2011 Toyota Avalon.
So there were 9 juveniles and 1 Ford Escape?
Yeah.
Do you know their age ranges? You mentioned the driver.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get that. We've got a 15-year-old boy, 14-year-old girl, $14-year-old boy, another 2 more 14-year-old boys, another 14-year-old girl, the driver, and how many is that? I lost count. That's 7?
Yes.
Okay. 15-year-old boy, and looks like another 14-year-old boy. And everybody's from Sioux Falls.
Were any of them hurt?
No, I didn't see. Let me pull up this report again. Where's this one? don't see anything about, well, it says several injuries, but I mean, sorry, there's like 3 different places they have this information, so it's a little difficult. The accident report doesn't say anything about in the narrative part, so let me check one other thing on there, because I'm not even sure who has the injuries. Well, here it says non-incapacitating injuries and possible injury, possible injury. There wasn't anything serious with them, but it looks like there were 6 peeps. Let me see that again. 7 of the kids that were in that Ford were either had injuries or possible injuries. And nothing says what those injuries are.
You mentioned the wrong-way vehicle was going at a high rate of speed, approximate miles per hour?
Let's see. That doesn't say. Go back to the other one. On the accident report, they didn't have an estimate on speed, so it may have been some witnesses that said that, but I don't know if we have a speed. I don't see anything listed in here. That was that vehicle. We had an officer just says earlier in that evening saw that vehicle and tried to stop it. That was near looks like it was near 6th and Sycamore, and that car at that time took off and was driving like 80 miles an hour is what somebody estimated at. So that was, I don't know, it does, again, this one just says earlier in the evening, so I don't have a time range of when that happened. So I think based off of that one, the severity of the crash, at least with the damage to the vehicles, I think it was safe to assume that they were traveling at a fairly high rate of speed. I just don't have an estimate of what that speed may have been.
And only the one person charged, correct?
Just the driver of that car was the only person charged, right? That juvenile.
Any indicators of substance use?
I didn't see anything about drug or alcohol use in there, so obviously if they have something like that, the officers normally note that in the report. I don't see anything about that.
It said in the press release that one person was extricated. Do you know which vehicle?
That was the driver of the Toyota. And so when the officers first arrived there, the driver of that Toyota was kind of in consciousness and then out of consciousness, kind of back and forth, and she was the one that had probably the more severe injuries and was taken to the hospital once she was extricated.
Any indicators on how many were wearing seatbelts?
No, I don't. let me look at one other thing here. So 6 of the injured teens, it said they were wearing seat belts. One of them was not wearing a seat belt. The Toyota driver says no seat belt was used, and the driver of the Explorer, or I'm sorry, Escape. I don't know if I said Explorer before, Escape. Seatbelt was used with that driver.
This could have been much worse. Any indicators from the driver of why they were headed down the wrong way?
I didn't see anything in the report about that, so I don't know if they were confused or messing around, or I mean, you can speculate all you want, but I don't know if we know why they were driving the wrong way. Good on that. Okay. The aggravated assaults, most of those are domestics, not anything real serious. We did have one, I guess, unusual one, and that was Saturday evening. That was a little after 7 p.m. This was in the 1600 block of South Rock Creek Drive. There's an apartment complex there, and there was a couple of kids. They were a 10-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl were playing outside of that 1600 building. They said there was 2 guys that came up. One of them was either white or Hispanic, and the other was black, and they said both of them pulled out guns, pointed them at them, kind of said something like, what's going on or whatever. And once they saw the guns, they ran inside the building, told Dad, who ended up calling police. So we didn't have any other reports of that. The descriptions they had were pretty vague, so we'll still be working on that, but didn't have any other witnesses to that as well. The other, like I said, most of those are domestics, and people threatened, a couple of strangulation cases in there, but no serious injuries. The arson, that was a fire that was found on a deck at an apartment building. No arrests on that. The fire department asked us to do a report, so they're still investigating that. Burglaries, nothing real big. There was quite a few garages that were entered. We did have a couple different burglary reports where there was a car parked outside and was left unlocked, and somebody was able to, they walked or basically just opened the door, got inside, and they used the garage door opener that was in that unlocked vehicle to open the garage of the house, got inside and stole items from there. I think 2 of those things actually stole a vehicle from inside what had been locked garage. One of those, I think actually both of those vehicles were later found. One of them, there was some juveniles that were arrested. The other one, the suspects were gone. But that's kind of it for the burglaries. Nothing else real big. The disorderlies, a lot of trespassings, family disputes, nothing big out of those. They're all reports. Frauds, I didn't get to those. The larcenies, a bunch of unlocked cars. That's probably the biggest stuff. There was a few catalytic converters, a few other property that was taken, like cell phones and bicycles, but that unlocked cars, nothing was concentrated in one area. And I've talked about this more times than I could count, but, lock your cars. We had people that were able to get in garages because cars were left unlocked. So it was good that they had the garages closed. We obviously see a lot of those types of thefts, but, you have to make sure your cars are locked. There's just too many people that are walking around checking handles, and if they find an unlocked car, they're stealing from it. And now they're opening garages. In the past, they wouldn't be doing that, but now we have people that are opening garages and getting in that. So it's, I wouldn't say things are escalating, but people are just making it too easy for criminals. And I don't want to try to victim shame anybody, but Sioux Falls isn't a small town anymore. Just because you've left your car unlocked in the past doesn't mean that it's going to be fine and good and everything's going to be hunky-dory. That's not the way it's working now. People are walking around specifically looking to get into unlocked cars and stealing from them for any number of different reasons.
Was it just the 2 cars you had mentioned that were entered, or were there more than that?
No, the 2 garages, yeah, it was 2 of them. I mean, it was basically the same type of thing. They weren't near each other, so it's not likely. Well, I mean, we caught the juveniles. The other one, it's probably not the same people, but I think it was just a coincidence. But it was the unlocked vehicle outside, and then they used the garage door opener to get inside. One of them, they took some other items and the vehicle, I guess, as well. The other one was just the vehicle that they stole from there. So let's see, narcotics, I didn't get to those. I didn't hear of anything big. The robberies, the first one, the guy said he was walking, somebody punched him and took his wallet. He knew who the guy is, but no arrests have been made, no serious injuries on that one. The other was Saturday. This was probably about 11:15 at night, and this was in the 1300 block of West 41st Street near 41st and Grange. Our victim left the bar, and he was outside in the parking lot. He said initially there was one guy that came up and pulled out a gun, threatened him with that, and then 2 other people showed up that were apparently working with the suspect. And so they took the victim's wallet and then left. So no injuries with that. The sex offenses, 2 of those are reports. The other 2 were similar. We had basically naked guys that were outside. One, people saw him in a grass area, was masturbating. He was arrested. The other was a guy that was at a motel. He was outside naked on the balcony, and there was a mom and 2 kids saw him. So he was arrested as well. Both of them were arrested for indecent exposure. Simple assaults, nothing big out of those. The unattended death, nothing suspicious from there. And the vandalisms, just kind of a little bit of everything. Some cars, some houses were damaged, some windows broken on those. Graffiti, nothing real big out of those. And the weapons violation, that was, we had several people call in that they heard gunshots but didn't have any reports of damage. The officers couldn't find any shell casings. That's it.
Can you possibly provide a status update on the search for the man wanted for second-degree murder?
I haven't heard anything with that, so the sheriff's office, they're the ones that are handling that. I guess trying to find him. I don't know if you call it an investigation, but they're searching for him, following up on leads. There's been a couple of times when they've called us for assistance, but they're the lead in trying to locate him, and I haven't heard any updates on that. Anything else? Okay, thanks.